Hearts and Hands is a story that was written by O. Henley and is adapted by William Nyambo. At Denver, there was an influx of passengers into the coaches on the eastbound B&M Express. In one coach, there sat a very young woman dressed in elegant taste and surrounded by all the luxurious comforts of an experienced traveler. Among the newcomers were two young men, one of handsome presence with a bold, frank countenance and manner, the other a ruffled, glamorous person, heavily built and roughly dressed. The young woman's glance fell upon them with a distant, swift disinterest, then with a lovely smile brightening her countenance and a tender pink tinging her rounded cheeks, she held out a little grey gloved hand. Then she started talking to them. Well, Mr. Easton, if you will make me speak first, I suppose I must. Don't you ever recognize old friends when you meet them in the West? The young man roused himself sharply at the sound of her voice, seemed to struggle with a slight embarrassment, which he threw off instantly, and then clasped her fingers with his left hand. It's Miss Fairchild, he said with a smile. I'll ask you to excuse the other hand. It's otherwise engaged just at present. He slightly raised his right hand, bound at the wrist by the shining bracelet to the left one of his companion. The glad look in the girl's eyes slowly changed to a bewildered horror. The glow faded from her cheeks. Her lips parted in a vague, relaxing distress. Easton, with a little laugh, as if amused, was about to speak again when the other forestalled him. The glam-faced man has been watching the girl's countenance with veiled glances from his keen, shrewd eyes. You will excuse me for speaking, miss, said Mr. Easton, but I see you are acquainted with the marshal here. If you ask him to speak a word for me, when we get to the penny, he will do it, and it will make things easier for me there. He's taking me to Leavenworth prison. It's been 7 years for counterfeiting. Oh, said the girl, with a deep breath and returning color. So that is what you are doing out here? A marshal? My dear Miss Fairchild, said Easton calmly, I had to do something. Money has a way of taking wings unto itself, and you know it takes money to keep step with our crowd in Washington. I saw this opening in the West, and well, a marshalship isn't quite a high position as that of ambassador, but the ambassador, said the girl warmly, doesn't call anymore. You ought to know that. The girl's eyes, fascinated, went back, widening a little to rest upon the glittering handcuffs. Don't you worry about them, miss, said the other man. All marshals handcuff themselves to the prisoners to keep them from getting away. Mr. Easton knows his business. The marshal said. Will we see you again in Washington? Asked the girl. Not soon, I think, said Easton. My butterfly days are over, I fear. I love the West, said the girl irrelevantly. Her eyes were shining softly. She looked away at the window. She began to speak truly and simply without a gloss of style and manner. Mama and I spent the summer in Denver. She went home a week ago because father was slightly ill. I could live and be happy in the West. I think the air here agrees with me. This isn't quite fair. I'm needing a drink and haven't had a smoke all day. Haven't you talked enough? Take me in the smoker now, won't you? I'm half dead for a pipe, said the marshal. The bound travelers rose to their feet, Easton with the same slow smile on his face. I can't deny a petition for tobacco, Mr. Easton said lightly. It's the one friend of the unfortunate. Goodbye, Miss Fairchild. Do the cause, you know? He held out his hand for a farewell. It's too bad you're not going to East, she said, recrossing herself with manner and style. But you must go to Leavenworth, I suppose? Yes, said Easton. I must go on to Leavenworth. The two men sidled down the aisle into the smoker.